We have our tunes figured out. We've got Taylor back on the playlist. We've got fall vibes coming in strong. And we continue today with our BPC prep, as we will have a conversation with Wesley Croft, our productivity coach in the Rocky River office, about setting your goals as we prepare for the business planning clinic, which is October 16th. We're going to talk about some frameworks to go through to help you set your goals in the best possible way. Speaking of goals, I want to tap on I want to double click, as the corporate folks say these days, double click on one of these beliefs, which is commitment in all things. And, as we're going to hear from Wesley, and we're going to talk a little bit about today, as we're setting those goals, we want to set goals that have strong alignment and the things that we are ready, willing, and able to commit to. And then take that commitment to those goals into every appointment, every lead gen session, every lead follow-up session, every listing appointment, you name it. We are committed to our goals through our actions in those moments. Quick shout out around all things career night. So every month we host a couple in-person career nights and one via Zoom. Anybody that you know that should learn more about a career in real estate, that should learn more about opportunities at Keller Williams, whether they are have started classes or not, they're already licensed and in the industry, it doesn't matter. We welcome all folks and would encourage you to show up as well, participate. If you have someone that is coming along or planning on attending, then show up with them, be there with them. We love to have agents in the room to echo and bring some realness to all the commentary that our team leader, Eddie Donnelly, shares with the folks in the room about our industry and our company. You've heard me talk about it several times, and you're going to hear me talk about it for the next probably 6 months, however long it takes us to get to February. Family Reunion is in Las Vegas. It is the largest real estate gathering in the industry. So there will be, they're projecting 20,000 attendees for Keller Williams Family Reunion in Las Vegas. Never been to Vegas, good places to eat, great shows to take in. Ultimately, going to be a super productive trip, a really strong opportunity for you to network and get referrals, to get training and educations. We'll have several agents from our office a part of panels, network and build stronger relationships with agents right here in Northeast Ohio, travel together, spend time together, attend sessions together, learn from Gary Keller live and in person. Such a strong opportunity. Do not miss out on this event. It is a great investment in yourself, your career, and hitting your goals for the year. All right, so we're going to continue this week our Caught Ya Winning session, which is where we just highlight someone who is doing something particularly well, having some success, and thought this week would be good. We're about almost 30 days into a new opportunity that Kelly Mann has been spearheading for us as a company and doing a fantastic job. Let's put that right up front. But want to talk, Kelly, just a little bit about what's going on. Tell us a little bit about your new role, how you're engaging with agents, and what all that looks like.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, so I'm starting the New Agent Launch Program, and it's a 4-session training program designed for new agents. It's offered both on Zoom and in person, and these sessions cover the essential topics such as command, dot loop, MLS, and the program is basically to equip new agents, to give them knowledge and skills to basically confidently start their real estate journey. And in the courses, there's like one-on-one with figuring out challenges on what documents are needed, where signatures are needed in documents and things like that. And it's basically to answer any questions that new agents have right off the bat. And this 4-session program basically then gives them the courage to graduate and go right into coaching.
Excellent. Excellent. So this is something that'll happen before they engage in productivity coaching, and will get them everything they need to actually write contracts, to know how to use the systems, to start lead generating, to set the right goals, all those things that come from coaching.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And it gives them a little homework as well.
Oh, there's homework involved. Well, I will not be showing up for any of that. Tell us a little bit about some of the wins that you're having, or you're seeing, or any ahas or unlocks for any agents in this first month.
Yeah, definitely. So, actually, all of my classes have been pretty regular students coming or agents coming, and we've covered various topics. Like, they brought great insights to the classes, and I'm trying to think, even going over like the apps, and when we go into the MLS, they'll tell me like things that they found or struggled with, and then as a class kind of like work with each other to find best way to navigate through these things. The Zooms have been super successful. Both great turnouts, and I feel like a lot of the agents did come out understanding how to use MLS better, and even like figuring out how to look up open houses, do a CMA, figure out setting up clients in the MLS for what is that, client portal. And
Excellent. That's awesome. And we're hearing good feedback from the agents. I think the goal of really getting people a 101 level understanding of everything that they have at their fingertips as resources, as tools, as technology. Super important for them to be able to then confidently lean into all of the coaching that takes place. Really appreciate you popping on here this morning, and just want to say again, it's been great. Kelly, for those of you who don't know, started it was a transaction coordinator on a team in our office, and then she was sitting at the front desk at Rocky River, and her role has grown and grown, and so we're very excited to continue to help our agents achieve everything that they want to achieve as a result of more support from our leadership team here at Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. So thank you for being a part of that, Kelly.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Can you drop your contact info in the chat if anyone wanted to reach out or had questions?
Yeah,
about
definitely.
that going on? So cool. Thank you so much. All right. Speaking of cool stuff, we have some really cool training coming up. We have an awesome month coming at you in October. I'm going to highlight several things. We had a really good headshot session in Pepper last week. That'll be coming up in River in just next week, I guess. This Wednesday, tomorrow, we will have 3 hours of Core CE Canons of Ethics presented by First American Title. And this will include lunch, and there are still seats available. So take advantage of that if you need some CE. And then on Thursday at 1:30, we have our broker mastermind with our broker, Andrew Ginter, whose office I'm sitting in today, and his best practices around the collection of and communication on the deposit of earnest money. If there are 100 issues around a transaction, 90 of them are going to involve earnest money. So if you want to avoid issues in your transactions, which I hope that you do, no one should go out looking for issues, then you're going to want to be a part of this. It's a great opportunity and a great way to have access to our broker, and then also a great opportunity to ask any questions that you have as Andrew's going to work through presentation and then take some Q&A. Our second part of Dominate Off-Market Listings is also on the 28th. That got bounced out from last week, but that's going to take place at 11 a.m. on Thursday, the 28th. Guys, this is an awesome program and such an important session for us to really get locked in on. Two people who do great businesses and have participated in a 12-week course on dominating off-market listings through Keller Williams MAPS coaching. This is going to be a can't miss. I would encourage you watch the recording of the first session that we did on this with Pat Barman and Jen Rubel, and then you will be dialed in, and there are going to be a ton of resources coming out with this as well. So lock this in on your calendars, team. Book club for September, The Wishing Game. We'll be getting together Friday at noon in the Rocky River office to debrief on that book and see what old Meg had to say. All right, you heard me reference the headshots in River on October 5th. And then we are starting a new standing session, or getting a couple of fireside chats with our team from Cross Country Mortgage, just to make sure that they've got an opportunity to keep you updated. There will be a lot of things happening in the mortgage market. Products are always changing. Who the consumer is consistently changes. So take advantage of the opportunity to build a closer relationship with these guys and get yourself some education. Typically there's a lot of fun to be had with this crew, as you can see from this graphic. They're all smiling. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Continuing with some really high level and valuable sales, training based off of what is coming through KW MAPS coaching. Allison, Wesley, and Alex all have spent the last several weeks taking the language of sales course with MAPS coaching, and are going to be sharing all of their takeaways around neurolinguistic programming, what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and why to say it related to sales. So do not miss that opportunity. That's October 12th at 11 a.m. And then that weekend we have, I think this is our third or fourth time doing this. It's the annual Trunk or Treat and Chili Cook-Off. So please join us. Please take advantage of this as an opportunity to have a client event. We had several agents do this last year. It made for a wonderful time. Who doesn't love leveraging something to get in touch with your clients as you go into the fall, and then participate as a chili cooker, or as a trunk, or as both. It's a really fun way to get friends and family and clients and colleagues out together. This will be in the Pepper Pike parking lot, and will be a wonderful time, so don't miss out. And then I've been talking about it. I'm going to keep talking about it as long as the opportunity still exists for you to grab a ticket, which is quickly diminishing. We have half the tickets for this event sold. This is one of the most critical sessions that we will do. 1, you get 6 hours of CE. 2, you get lunch. 3, you get a soup to nuts, bulletproof business plan for 2024. This is not an opportunity that you should take lightly. It is not something that, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. You're a business owner. The opportunity to put together and refine your business plan under the instruction of one of the companies or the industry's best at this training. Matt is coming in from Texas to do this session. He's highly regarded as one of the best, if not the best, at doing it, and has impacted literally billions of dollars of real estate businesses, and has built great teams, great offices, great brokerages during his time in the industry. So no matter what your goals are, no matter where you want to take things, the opportunity for you to get the absolute best business plan put together is going to be on October 16th, and is a cannot miss. And then for the folks who are who want to take that business plan and immediately put it into action. Both of our productivity coaches will be hosting sessions for everybody in the office to take your business plan and get it into action, right? So they will be focusing on elements of accountability, being learning based, and focusing on training opportunities that are going to put you in a position to succeed. This is a great stack with getting your business plan, but like we will talk about with Wesley and goals, just writing them down doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to happen. We got to get in action around them. And so both of our coaches are going to help us with that. All right, let's throw it over to our partners at Ohio Real Title to talk a little bit about what's going on in that neck of the woods.
All right, I'll start, Janelle. So had a situation with another client of ours. They had a listing, a buyer came unrepresented, did not want to be represented by them, but asked for assistance writing the contract, yada, yada, yada. Something happened. Long story short, they're now a party to a lawsuit because they took another offer. Don't play lawyer. Check with your broker before using your own paper and helping people if you're not making any money on that thing. If you need a contract, throw them the statewide contract or something, or send them our way, and we can give them our for sale by owner contract if they want to write it on that paper. But don't get involved in that. At least that's my advice. I'll kick it over to Janelle.
The only thing I would say is mark your calendars for November 3rd. We're hosting you guys graciously are hosting a 3-hour free CE on core law. It's end of the year, so a lot of people are scrambling. So just email me. I'll put my email in the chat, and with your real estate license number if you'd like to be there. Okay, November 3rd, 9 to 12:15. Be there.
All right, love that. Over to those mountain men that we saw in the graphic working their campfire. Our friends at Cross Country Mortgage, Sean, Don, and Chris.
And I tell you, that picture couldn't be more fitting. The campsite fire is just like our fireside chat is just like camping, intense. So there you go. So
yes.
All right, the market. Fed did not bump interest rates last week, which was exactly what was expected. They left the door wide open for interest rates for the Fed to bump the interest rates up before the end of the year. The markets aren't buying into that, but as time goes on, as that becomes, very likely a reality, you'll see rates push up a bit more. So that 30-year fix that had been kind of trudging along just over 7 is more in the mid 7s, and the outlook is for that probably to keep creeping up. So if you're kind of curious where rates are headed or where they are at the moment, just give anyone a call. We're counseling buyers on where we're at, what we're seeing, and what may be to come. So big announcement I put on Facebook, but we've got a fantastic 15% down, no PMI loan program. Need a 43 debt ratio and a 740 credit score. So this is kind of more your A buyer. We might even be able to sneak some buyers into it who are maybe slightly below that, but 15% no MI. This is huge. Imagine you got a 20% down buyer and the appraisal comes in a little short. You've got an appraisal gap. Now they're going to pay PMI. Nope, we just slide them into this program. You got a buyer who wants to keep a little money in their pocket, maybe to pay off some bills, maybe just for some home improvements, and they're stressed out because they're putting less than 20% down and having to pay PMI. We're going to waive that for them. There's no bumped interest rate, no cost. It's a no-brainer, and I'm excited to be talking about it. DJ.
There's not a whole lot to say. I think you framed that one pretty well with a possible short appraisal on the 20% down. We just slide them into that 15 down, no MI. Or from the get-go, we just put them in that program and they can use that extra 5% to pay off debt. So it's a great product that we'll use to counsel borrowers on to use their money wisely.
Nice. This is a little bit off topic for what you guys are talking about, but I was messing around with the student loan calculator. As if anyone hasn't heard, student loans are going to be kicking back in here. They are already out of forbearance. Technically, payments start in October. I know they changed the rules for income-driven repayment. I was messing around with a calculator just to see what those new rules look like, and it's super, super advantageous. Nice repayments now with those new rules. So if you haven't checked it out, or if you have buyers that are worried about their new payments or anything like that, check out these new calculators. It's quite a bit different than where they were, a few years ago.
or just remind them that they have payments coming due October 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Yeah, very, very important as we position ourselves as a strong fiduciary and someone who can help our clients with, you know, all of the things that come with home ownership, including accessing equity. The opportunity is there for you to just get an easy touch about, hey, this is going on. Wasn't, you know, want to make sure you were aware. Would hate for anything to anything negative to come about. All right. Is Gina Legeza on the line? I didn't see her, but Gina, yell at me if you are. Otherwise, we are going to throw it over to Liz Kosminski with the Leverage Center. What's going on in your world, Liz?
Same old, same old. New deal every day.
Excellent.
New deal.
Anything notable or quotable, or things that agents as they're thinking about, hey, you know, what am I getting into with for the fall season that would maybe pique their interest in getting mixed up with you on a deal or two?
Just probably continuing to think, you know, we're going into the slow season. Don't stop prospecting. Whatever you do, just keep at it. Yes, it's boring. Yes, nobody wants to do it, but that's where the money's made. And if you're saying, oh, I don't have time, I have to take care of my deals that I do have, I need to take care of. So I don't have time to prospect. That's when you need to call me, because I will take care of those deals so that you can go out and get the next one. Because I mean, it's almost the holidays. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's exactly right. Realtors don't necessarily, you know, it's not by their action that they, you know, stop working. You know, the joke around, you know, everybody just packing it in once Halloween shows up. It's that life starts to get in the way in a meaningful way, right? All
Correct.
fall sports for kids are up and running at this point. Everything related to Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. You know, if you are the socialite, right, which many realtors are, then you're going to be in a position where your time is stretched. And we talked about it last week. There are going to be 10,000 units sold in our MLS in the next 100 days. Right? 10,000 units. And it is, you know, so the opportunity is there in a big way.
Yeah.
And the opportunity with you is to get the time to actually take advantage of it and not feel like you're dropping balls in other parts of your life.
Right. I mean, just because the market slows down at the end of the year doesn't mean that it stops.
Right.
There are still people buying and selling, so agents still need to do their job. Like, there's still clients out there that need you. So, you know, make sure you're taking advantage of that. And then if you feel like you don't have the time for that and all of your holiday parties and events, again, like, let me take part of that off of your plate and free up your time for the things that you would rather spend it on.
Absolutely. Love that. So guys, if you haven't gotten into a conversation, haven't explored the opportunity with Liz, please do. It's a great offering here at our company, again, in a way for us to help support you towards your goals. Speaking of goals, let's bring Wesley Croft up to the main stage here for a little conversation around getting our goals workshopped as we head into the business planning clinic on October 16th, which everyone can get a ticket to via the links in the chat. Excuse me. Wesley, you know, for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? How long you've been in real estate, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so I've been in real estate for 7 years now. I've been doing this role for a little over a year and a half. Yeah, real passion for helping agents sort of get out of their own way and overcome some mindset issues in order to get to whatever level of success that they choose to, really. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm about.
So, when we're going to have a conversation about goals today, you are someone who has had this conversation more than once.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Pretty much with every client that you have.
Yep. Very fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
So Wesley and I were chatting ahead of this and thinking about, okay, do we do a role play? Do we do, what sort of, how do we want to approach this? And I really thought it would just be good to just talk about, some of the things that you've experienced, you've seen, you've learned, and the way that you coach people to be in relationship with their goals and set the right goals. And so let's just start there. How do you coach to setting the right goals, or setting goals at all? Like, some people are resistant to the idea of having a goal, right?
Yeah. 100%. One of the main things that I think we miss when we're looking at or thinking about setting goals is this whole idea around aligning your goals with your values. For example, I'll take myself as an example. For those of you that know me, know that that my goal in real estate has never been to build a giant empire. Mm-hmm. It's just not one of my goals. It doesn't align with my values from a monetary standpoint. And so the interesting thing is I see a lot of agents that walk in the door, and I even remember this from when I took real estate classes at Hondros. The professor walks in the first day, or the agent that was doing the class, mm-hmm. and had everyone ask, "Hey, why'd you get into real estate?" And the answer almost to the man was money. And so that's, when we talk about setting goals, when people walk into my office and I have that initial conversation with them around coaching, I say, "Hey, why'd you get into real estate?" It's almost always financial freedom. And so then my next question is, okay, well, what does that look like to you? Because it's very different. Because if you think about goal setting, a lot of people say, I want financial freedom from having to, worry about paying bills. I want financial freedom from, and then it's just this whole laundry list of things. But what I want them to set goals to is, I don't want you to set goals to try to have freedom from things, especially as it relates to monetary issues. I want you to have freedom to. And freedom to is a lot different than freedom from. Freedom to says, I have freedom to do the things that I want. I have freedom to give to the things that I want. And so you need to make sure that you're aligning it with your values that you've already got. And maybe it's not money for you. Maybe it's if you believe what Gary Keller says about money, and money is only good for the good that it can do, what good do you want your money to do for you? And that's the first question that I ask anyone that walks in the door. Hey, if money is really good for the good that it can do, and you want to make all this money in real estate, which is fine, what good do you want that to do? And so those goals are vastly different from the normal goals of, I just want to make $100,000.
Yeah. Oh man, you pulled that from my future, from my notes, but I want to stay here for a minute. You just nailed two very important things to me. One, I'd never seen the freedom from, freedom to framework until I saw it up on your whiteboard in your office. And I absolutely love it. Because, statistically speaking, a lot of people are in debt, right? And when you're in debt, you want to get out of debt. And then people get out of debt and then back into debt, and out of debt and back into debt. And because they're moving away from the pain, right? We're avoiding pain, but we're not pursuing the pleasure of a positive net worth, right? And that's my financial example. But the freedom from to freedom to framework is so incredibly important. And that in and of itself is a mindset shift, right? Because what you focus on expands, and focusing on positive things is way more exciting and interesting than my bills and my debt and all those other things. But you hit on another thing that I think gets lost in the conversation around goal setting. which is your personal values. So how should my personal values show up when I'm setting my goals? Like what does that even mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to get really clear on your values. What is it that you really value? And I think a lot of people, I think we just, as a society, just don't do that. We just, hey, we're so consumed again with needing freedom from something. And I can't tell you how many people that have walked into my office since I've been doing this, coaching thing, that's all they care about.
Yeah.
Is I have bills to pay. My current job is not doing it for me. And I need to, I thought real estate, because I watch $1 Million Listing and I watch HGTV and all these real estate ballers are making all this money. And I thought that was like the quickest way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of what do I really value about life? And if your value proposition that you're putting out into the universe is, I want to help people, real estate's a great way for you to do that. It's a great way to help people, especially with the largest transaction of their life. So getting super clear on your values before you ever start to try to set goals around anything is super important. And that takes meditation, it takes reflection, it takes asking yourselves the tough questions about what really matters. But then once you've got that in line, I can use myself as an example. Again, my goal in real estate is not to build a huge real estate team, make $1 million a year, and all that sort of thing. My goal really is to help people. And I have found an outlet to do that in coaching. So now as I'm thinking through my coaching program,
Mm-hmm.
how many people can I help? What goals can I set around that number so that I can affect as many lives as possible?
Sorry, I love that. I love that. But there's somebody on this call, right? I don't know who it is, but there's 50 people listening to you, and somebody's thinking, yeah, that's great. But I still got to eat. I don't know if you filled up, I can't fill up my gas tank with people helped, right? No one's showing up to swipe their card for me. So how do you reconcile, like, yes, I love this and I love the goals and I want to have freedom too, but I also, like, in this moment, have a credit card bill, or in this moment, know that I have expenses for 2024. So how do you dovetail those two things? And what's the appropriate way to weave that into my goals? Because somebody out there is like, yes, I want to make $100,000.
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's just assume, everybody on this call is in real estate. So what do you need to do on a daily basis to make that happen, to make that $100,000 goal happen, to make that, whatever it is? I've got a coaching client right now. He wants to take his best friend on a cruise around the Mediterranean, right? So, like, how do you do that on a daily basis? So then what I always try to tell people is, there's 5 things that you have to do as a real estate agent every day. That's it. If you do those 5 things, you're good. It's lead generation, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, script and role play, and get educated. That's it. And so if you can just use that as your framework and set goals around that, like you will do in the business planning clinic, that's where the bread and butter comes from. And that's your, we always want to talk about the Pareto principle and the 80-20 and all those sorts of things. Your 20%, and I would say your 20% of your 20% is lead generation. If you're not doing that on a daily basis and goal setting around that, none of the rest of it is going to matter, and you won't make the money that you want to make.
Well, okay, that's very helpful. So no matter what, like, hey, if your goals, like, money is, or currency is what we exchange in that gets us the things that we want, allows us to demonstrate our values. So we have to have that tie-in. Tell me a little bit about some common mistakes that you see when it comes to goal setting. What are things that maybe people, and maybe it's different for, hey, this is my first time in the industry, or, folks that you work with that are years into their role, because you have clients that have a broad range. Like, what are some things that you just see that you're like, hey, if you're putting pen to paper ahead of the business planning clinic, do this, not that?
Yeah. People don't make their goals specific enough. So they'll just say, I want to, and they don't break them down. So for example, we'll use the $100,000.
Yeah.
They'll come in and they'll say, I want to make $100,000. Okay. So what are you going to do that? Oh, well, I'm just going to talk to people.
Okay.
Well, okay. Well, that's good. But be more specific, right? So Gary Keller would say, how many contacts, Mike, a day that you should make in order to be super successful in real estate conversation?
It's somewhere between 19 and 21.
Yeah.
Like there's a number in there.
So, what does Gary Keller say? There's no something, like there's no financial problem you can't solve by having 20 real estate conversations a day.
That's right.
So how specific are you being with your goals? And so I don't know how many of you have heard of the SMART goal framework, but that's the very first thing. The S stands for specific and the M stands for measurable. So how specific are your goals? How measurable are they? Because if you can't get crystal clear on that, it doesn't matter. You can set all these goals and and have all these big ideas. None of it's going to matter if you don't at least have it be specific and measurable. The A for SMART goals would be achievable. So is it achievable? Like, is that something that you could do? So, somebody could walk into my office today and say, I'm a brand new agent, have no idea what to do in real estate. And, oh, by the way, I want to make $250,000 my first year.
Yeah. And
I would look at them and I would say, okay, that's awesome. Probably not achievable.
Yeah. Well, and I think that I want to come back to the SMART goal framework, but I also want to hammer on that because if we don't set an attainable or achievable goal, right? If we don't nail that A on the SMART goal framework, we can see folks cycle through that what we see with E to P, right? If we're not going E to P and we hit a ceiling of achievement, or we feel like contextually we fail, right? Because I set this goal for $100,000 in my first year. I only made $72,000, right? $72,000 in my first year, which means you probably sold millions of dollars in real estate. And there's a ton to celebrate there. But if we don't set the right goal, then we could potentially put ourselves in a bad mindset or feel defeated and ultimately move away from those things. I'm reminded of something that Gary Keller frequently says, and I love to think in this way, which is we overestimate where we can be in a year and underestimate where we can be in 5.
Yep.
Right now, that agent who comes in, is there if it is truly aligned with their values and something that they're willing to commit in all things to make $250,000. Is there any doubt in your mind that the person who's aligned around that is unlikely to do it in 1 year, but likely to do it by the 5th year, if not sooner?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how does that work in? Like, if I'm trying to set the right goals, or I'm trying to get my goals set, and I know that I know where I want to be in life, how do I walk it back to even where I want to be in 2024?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think you have to start to chunk it down a little bit, especially for those people that have really big goals. Some of my coaching clients, they want to have a team built within 5 years. Okay, so what does that realistically look like? It starts with you, and then it is just a walk back, right? So we know if you want a team, you're going to have some sort of an administrative support. There's no point in having administrative support if you don't have enough business to support that, as an expense. So walking back from an organizational model is a great idea to start with. But generally, what I say is, let's focus on what you can do today to move one step to the right. So, and all of that, again, is all going to come back to what you're doing on a lead generation basis.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
how many calls you're making, how many conversations you're having. We can get you to where you want to be in 5 years, but if you're not doing the things now and you're so focused on having a team that you're not willing to put the work in now to do it, it's often going to fail. And one of the things, I think it's in The One Thing, Gary Keller quotes a guy by the name of Peter Drucker, and he says, plans are only good intentions unless they immediately degenerate into hard work. And I think we miss the hard work part of it. We love the making of the plan. We love the making of the goal, but then we don't actually want to do the work to get us there.
Yeah, it's it is there. And there was recently an article, or that's, and this is something that has been well known and socialized, but when you set a goal, right, and you create an intention, there's a dopamine dump in your brain, right, where you get the benefit of achievement just by setting the goal and sharing it, right? Which is dangerous, because how many people have set a goal to run that marathon, or to take that trip, and they tell somebody and say, oh my God, Wesley, that is so great. That is so great that you're going to run that marathon, or that you're going to hike Kilimanjaro. And then they never do, right? Because our mind is honestly in that moment working against us, because it's releasing a reward chemical. And that is why, the joke is that the more boring you are, the more successful you can be. And that's getting up and doing the mundane things that are in your 20%. Like 20 real estate contacts a day is, can feel like a lot to some, could feel like a little to others. I don't know. And if I'm not doing 20 a day and I'm only doing 5, maybe the goal is just to get to 10, right? How do you right size goals based on, or help people set right sized goals based on where they're at, and you kind of keep them in that reality?
Yeah, so you have to be super encouraging. The coach in me wants to piggyback off of what you just said a second ago about telling people what you want your goal to be, or telling people what your goal is. What if we shifted our mindset, instead of getting the dopamine rush off of telling every single person in the office, like, hey, here's my goal, here's what I want to do. Instead, have the dopamine rush come from when you put the deal together, or when you have the conversation that leads to the deal being put together, right? Or when you set the appointment. That should be the dopamine rush that you get, and just work in silence. Like, don't get the dopamine rush from telling everybody, because what you're doing with your body is you're creating a feedback loop that just says, well, 2 weeks ago I had this goal, let me create a new goal because it feels really good to go talk to everybody about it. So change your mindset there. What was your question that you asked?
I want to, just everyone take a minute. I grew up in a small town, and there's, if you think, I guarantee you know that guy or that gal who is always just about to get it right, get it together, and get on to the next thing. And I think when you recognize, where that person is and what's happening for them, like we can fall into that same trap because of that chemistry that takes place. And I think that's also like, and just understanding that, like, because I'm a huge believer in, if you share your goals with people, they will help you. Right. So like, it's not like you have to keep your goals a secret, but the goal to be a millionaire versus the goal to make 20 contacts, or to have 20 real estate related conversations, those are two goals. And one leads to the other. And so if I tell people my goal is to have this many conversations about real estate, they'll help me. But if I tell people my goal is to be a millionaire, I'll get a big dopamine dump and I might not make my contacts.
Great point.
I forget what question I asked you.
And you get the accountability from it too, right?
Yeah. Because, especially when we set goals in the daily, weekly, and monthly, right? Because what that allows us to do is to get immediate feedback.
Yep.
Right. If my goal is to be a millionaire, going back to the SMART framework, what's the T in the SMART framework?
Time-based.
Time-based, right? When? By the end of the year? By the end of my life? What's,
Yep.
what exactly does that mean? And I think that, one thing that you hit on is also making sure that we contextualize those goals as to what does it mean when you get there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me, well, the question I had was around right sizing goals. And, the getting into the conversation with someone that, comes in and, everybody, kind of feels like they're supposed to, this industry and what gets popularized is like, make a ton of money, build a big team, do all these things. How do you help somebody, self-actualize that? I mean, that might not, as you said for yourself, that might not be for everyone. How do I really get into touch with like what's valuable and important to me? I got, if I got the values piece, like, do I need to have conversations with other people? Is it a conversation with you? Is it, how can I really take inventory of like what I want or what's right for me?
Shameless plug, you should get a coach.
There's no shame in that game, man. That's the first hire everyone should make.
Yeah, you should get a coach. And it's going to be different for every person on how you help them self-actualize some of those things. I've got the whole gamut of coaching clients. I've got people that are absolutely on fire, will do pretty much anything that I recommend for them to do. I've got people on the other side that just having trouble getting moving. And so that's where coaching comes in. It's asking the deep questions. It's asking the questions to help people realize and understand what's really getting in their way, and then helping them to move past that, and even giving them some suggestions on how to get past it. And the reality is, a lot of it has to do with the systems that they're putting into place.
Mm-hmm.
We can have all the goals that we want, but if our systems don't match up with that, that's where it sort of gets a little strange. And I feel like a lot of what I do is coach people around, especially in real estate, is coaching them around systems.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, and you believe that you're supposed to make 20 contacts a day. You're only making 10. Talk me through that. What's getting in the way, and trying to figure that out. And if it's well, I don't have enough time. Well, we've all got the same amount of time. So what are you doing with the time that you've been given? I'm scared of rejection. Okay. What does that fear look like? And how do we help you overcome that? Like those sorts of questions. And, if you don't write anything else down from what we take away today, write this down, is that we don't rise to the level of our goals. So many people think that I set a goal and I just work to get there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. So if your system that you have in place is not $100,000 producer system, you are not going to magically, with enough hard work, grit, and determination, make that $100,000 goal.
Yeah.
But if you want to make $100,000, go talk to another agent that's already doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what system they use and implement that. So we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems.
Yeah. Or if it's I want to be there for my friends and family by doing as, I need to provide and make money. And then I want to maximize, the flexibility and freedom of the industry. Are you, do you have the appropriate systems for leverage? Do you have the appropriate systems for accountability? Do you have the appropriate time blocks? And those are important as you move from this is the goal and a business plan and a coach that delivers focus, accountability, models, systems, and tools and resources that get those things done.
Yep, absolutely. And goal setting is such a multifaceted thing too. Like, we haven't even talked about the big why.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about how that relates to goals and all those sorts of things. So it's not just as simple as someone walking into my office or anybody's office for that matter and trying to set a goal. There's so much that goes into it, that conversation, hopefully if you're sitting in front of the right person, the conversation, it won't be a 5-minute one where you just look at them and say, hey, I want to make $100,000. What do I need to do? Have a nice day, and walk out the door and expect that that's the
Okay,
happen.
here's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that was the way that it was, there would be 30,000 realtors in our MLS instead of 15.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the cool thing about coaching, is that it's a partnership. It's not it's two people sitting next to each other, not across the desk from one another.
That's a great framework. Any parting words of wisdom that you could share as we hit the bottom of the hour?
Yeah. As far as your goals are concerned, once you create a goal, get to work then. Don't wait around. Don't wait around. Just get after it. I think a lot of people want to sit and try to make everything perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Like, absolutely. Let's just make everything really perfect. Then we can start. And, I've got a quote up on my board. You've probably read it here too, Mike. You're better off starting imperfectly than to be paralyzed by the delusion of perfection.
Ooh.
So just get
Mark
started.
Twain? Mark Twain?
Say what?
A Mark Twain quote?
Yeah, Michael Scott, actually. But yeah, keep starting. Keep starting. If you fall off the wagon a day, it doesn't matter. Just keep starting. Just keep up the momentum. And what you'll find is, the graph that we draw all the time for real estate agents, if you're lead generating at a constant level, your income is going to do this, and it's just going to skyrocket all of a sudden. But it's consistency, and just keep starting. Don't let yourself get discouraged by, hey, I had a bad day. Hey, life got a hold of me. The whirlwind got a hold of me. Just keep starting.
Yeah, I think your point around like start now is that, it is not by accident that we are holding a business planning clinic for 2024 75 days before the year ends instead of on New Year's Day. I mean, one, I think attendance would be better, on the 16th versus January 1st, but it is getting that goal. And then 2 days later, 3 days later, the sessions with you and Eric on both sides of town around getting your business plan into action, right? Absolutely. If you start, because in this industry and in life, it's going to take 7, 8, 9 weeks for you to start seeing the movement in the direction of the goals based on putting those actions into place. So don't wipe out the first 2 months of 2024 by starting on January 1st. Start on October 16th or October 17th. And then by the time January 1st shows up, you are flying in the right direction.
Yep. Spoiler alert, we've only got 6 to 7 weeks left before 2024 really starts.
Yeah.
And if you've got big goals for 2024, again, don't put a plan together to start on January 1st because you're already 45 days behind.
Yeah. Some people celebrate New Year's Day on October 1st because of the 90-day sales cycle for real estate, right? So, Absolutely. October 1st is, Happy New Year. You're in 2024.
Yep.
So, and if you're like, hey, I don't know my goals, I don't know what to do, something tells me that 20 real estate conversations a day is probably going to get you by for a couple of weeks, then get you to the business planning clinic.
Yep.
Excellent. Wesley, thank you so much, as always, for sharing your insights and your wisdom. Guys, get your ticket to business planning clinic. It will sell out. Take advantage of that opportunity, and let's do that. All right, team, that's all for today.